Welcome to the Revit series E7 for architects and designers. So in this video we will be learning about how to create the architectural floor or add structural floors to the Revit project. Now let's go to Revit and see how this can happen. So in the Revit project we have 4 walls which is created. Now we are interested to create the structural floor and the architectural floor in the Revit project. Now let's first of all understand what's the difference between a structural floor and an architectural floor and how we can add it. Now in the architecture tab or in the structure tab, you see that there is only one floor that is there, which is the architectural floor or a structural floor. Now let's say what is the difference. So if you add an architectural floor, you're creating the architectural floor, which is the floor finish inside the space of the model. But the structural floor basically represents the structural floor slab that is to be put on the current level. So the creation method of the architectural floor and structural floor is very same, but the only difference is when you're creating a structural floor, you create it as a structure so that you can add the rebars or the reinforcement later on. And in the architectural floor, the creation you create it at the finished floor level, and this is basically consist of the floor finish or the floor tiles that you have. Now let's go with an architectural floor and see how we can create them. Now to understand that, we should have the level that in which we are creating the architectural floor should be a finished floor. So understanding that it is in the finished floor level and the floor plan is of the finished floor. Now once you click on the floor tool, you find that there is a modify create floor boundary contextual tab which is displayed. Now here in this particular modify create floor boundary contextual tab, there are 3 options. One is the boundary line, one is the slope arrow, and the span direction. Now go with the boundary line and you can see the sketch options are there: line, rectangle, polygon, and so on. So here you have an option of creating the floor perimeters or the boundary line with the line option. So you can directly go and click on the points over here, or you can select the walls over here. It will give you the perimeter of the floor boundary. Now here this particular symbol shows the span direction. You can give a span direction and here the floor is there. Now it says that the line must be in closed loops. So this is very important that when you are creating the floor, the sketch should be closed. So what I do is I choose the trim extend to corner tool and this boundary has to be changed. Now here we go again. It says, so we do the same treatment over here. There is an opening over here, so you create it and here the floor is created. Now here you can see that the floor over here, which is created as an architectural floor, is having a particular floor type. Now that if you wanted to make this floor, which is created by architectural floor, you have to make it a structural floor. The only thing that you need to do is you need to select this checkbox and it will be converted into a structural floor. And eventually you can see that the rebars options will be seen. Now let's say if you wanted to add it as an architectural floor, go to the edit type. Now you can see here in the edit type there is system family is the floor. The system family will be the same for structural and architectural floor, and the only thing would be the structure that will change. Let's say if I wanted to have a wooden floor or let's say wooden floor, and I wanted to have the thickness as let's say 100 millimeters or 50 millimeters, whatever it is. If I wanted to have the material as wooden, so I can select the wooden material and here I can change this particular, you can say a wood, and the moment you click on the wood you see that there is a flooring material which is there and you can have different options from the selection. So let's say if I wanted to have a caulk tiles, select it in the top and you can basically apply it to the floor material. Now if you look into the type which is available over here, let's say if we have a wooden standard timber wood finish, you can see that here this is basically another type which is defined over here. So you have a structure in the core boundary, which is a timber joist, which is a 200 mm timber joist. Material is there, and then you have above the timber joist you have the, so in this it is basically arranged from bottom to the top. So at the top you have a oak flooring, which is 19 millimeters as a finish, and in the structure you have a wooden sheathing, that is a chipboard of, let's say, 22 millimeters, and there's a structure which is a timber joist, and above there is a oak flooring. So similar condition you can create with the floor that you wanted to create. Let's say you can have different layers. If you wanted to change the layers, let's say we are creating a generic 150 mm, you can change it, and you can have the same thing over here. You can have a wooden sheeting, you can have different layers that is there. So let's say if you go along with it, and let's say if you wanted to have a function over here, you can create a course fill pattern over here, and here you can see that it is changed to the pattern that has been given over here, let's say the cork tiles. And if you wanted to see the realistic views, you can see the material which is delivered here, or which has been assigned, is changed to the new type. Now let's say if you wanted to change the type of this wall, of this floor, so you select the floor from the bottom and you can change it to, let's say, standard timbered wood finish. Now if you wanted to see the layer of this cross section, select the floor, and then you can go with the option here in the modify floor, which is a selection box. So you can basically change this and see how the layers are seen over here. Now if you wanted to see in the fine view, you would see all the layers over here, which is you have defined while you have created the type of the floor. So this is about the architectural floor. And for the, if you wanted to create it as a structural floor, you can select any one of them. Let's say in situ concrete you can select, and then you can say it is a structure, and then basically it now changed to a structural floor. Now you can add the rebars and the reinforcement over here. So this is the difference between, and then a very important thing is that the structural floor will be created in the top of structure level, and the finished floor, or the the architectural floor, will be created in the finished floor level. So if you wanted to change the height offset, let's say if I wanted to change the height offset of the floor to 600 mm above the level 1, so this is something it will move. Now one thing, very important part, is the top of the floor will be aligned to the level that you have basically selected. For example, if you take it to level 2 and if you say 0, this floor will be, the top of the floor will be aligned to the level 2. Similarly, if let's say you wanted to have it in level 1, you can basically have it in the level 1, apply it, let's say 600. And there is one of the option in Revit that you can do here is basically attach the floor with the walls. For example, if you select the walls which is there, and if you attach use the attach option, and if you select the base to be attached and you select the floor, you would see that the wall gets attached to the floor. That means if you change now the height offset, let's say if you make it 1200, the wall will move along with the floor. Similarly, you can create the attachment relation between this wall and the floor. So you have the attach option, select it, and here you have, so you're attaching the top of the wall over here. Now let's say if you wanted to detach it, select it, and here you have the detach option. Now if you want to attach it with the base, you can select it and it will be attached to the base. So here it basically talks about the how we can have the floor architecture or structure in the project. In the next video we will be learning about how to create a sloped floor and how to modify the floors from the from the vertex or to sub elements modifications that can be made. That's a classical example. We will be doing it in the next video. Stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe our channel, like our videos, share with your friends, and please comment in the comment box about how did you like the videos and give your suggestion to improve the videos in the coming time. Thank you so much.